this works. Hi. Hi. So today we are talking about sweaters, and we're talking about gauge, and we are talking about sizing. And let me see if I have Froggy. So sometimes my toddler steals Froggy, but it's very important to have a tape measure when you are talking about things like sweaters and sizing. And pardon me, I put a pillow on my stool here so that it was more comfortable. And anyway, all right. So today, lots of fun today. It's February. Welcome to February 2021. Hopefully we will have a winner drawn this week for all of the people who posted about their January year of self-care and tagged us so we could find it. But if you didn't post for January, no fears, because we're in February, and that means that you can post for February. And this month, I have my list. This month is all about treating yourself. So this month is about buying yourself a really special fiber. I might have splurged a little bit in the wool and fiber arts sale this weekend because I have a friend that's getting back into dyeing and I really wanted to support her. So I bought a little fiber, just a little, and I did buy quite a bit of silk. I mean, it's BFL in silk, so it's lovely stuff, right? So yes, I bought more spinning fiber, mostly because we don't carry like a ton of spinning fiber, but also because I just really like to support other people. You know, I love what we carry, and I love knitting with our stuff, but sometimes it's nice to buy from others. Like, I always buy souvenir yarn. I think Tina has talked about that too. Like, I'm a yarn store owner, and yet I go buy souvenir yarn. I know, it's very weird. It's not weird. It's fun. That's what it is. It's my souvenir yarn. I never forget, you know, where I've been, because I'm like, oh yeah, I bought this in, you know, Reno. Oh, I bought this in, where have I been recently? Like nowhere. I've been nowhere recently because, you know, pandemic. Anyway, so I hope that you have like picked out something that you think is really fun for this month. And again, it doesn't matter if you are embroidering or tatting or spinning or whatever. Whatever you're doing, whatever your needlecraft is for the month, I hope that you are splurging on something, just a little something that is fun and luxurious for you, whatever that happens to be. So yeah, I ordered, and actually, you know, I did get my camel and my silk finally last month. Maybe I will knit with this month, maybe. It's camel and silk. It's so soft and lovely. Yeah, feels so nice. But maybe I won't. Maybe I'll save it. Right now it just lives here, so I can pet it frequently. But anyway, make sure that you are taking those photos and that you're posting them on social media, or you're doing your videos if you happen to be on YouTube or TikTok, and you need to tag us so that we can find it, because that's the only way that we know that you have been participating in the year of self-care. That way we can include you in the drawing. So January's over, but February is here. I hope all of you made at least a little bit of progress on your January goals. You know that my goals were spinning for my handspun sweater, and that segues very nicely into what we need to talk about today, and that is sweater sizing and swatching. So one of the most important things that you can do if you make clothes for yourself, whether it's knitted, crocheted, sewn, however you make clothes for yourself, is to measure yourself often and as accurately as possible. So this happens to be my Froggy tape measure. Maybe not the best tape measure to use, but he's not terrible. And this is actually my second or third Froggy tape measure, because my child likes to play with this because the eyeball pops out. Tina and I had a lot of fun playing with this when we first bought them. And luckily I found several of these for not a lot of money. So I bought a bunch of them because she likes to do this all the time, and then the eyeball falls off. So, whoops. Anyhow, it's really important to measure yourself, and there's a lot of measurements that you can take, but the most important ones for you are going to be your chest or bust measurement And you'll want to take that if you're a woman with whatever bra you happen to want to wear under that sweater, because of course that will change your overall appearance in the chest area. Just throwing that out there. You also will want to measure, depending on what style of sweater you're knitting, you'll want to either measure all the way from the point to the top of your shoulder, or you'll want to measure from the underarm, which is kind of your armpit area, to your wrist. And you can always stop your sleeves early. So even if, like it says, you know, full sleeves or whatever, you can make them a 3/4. You just don't knit as long. And hey, Angelus! Yeah, so it's not that big a deal to change a sweater. You just have to know a few basic things. So you definitely want to take your chest measurement, and to do that, it's usually helpful if you have a second person, but since I don't, you just stretch around, kind of measure at the point of your chest, wherever that happens to be. And I usually measure like right at a 38, 39, somewhere in there pretty regularly, no matter what bra I happen to be wearing. So around your chest, very important measurement. And then the point of your shoulder. This one's a little bit harder. It can be done. Oh, I've got it in centimeters. Hang on. There we go. So like from the tippity top point of my shoulder all the way down, I'm about 20 inches on my sleeve. But because I like raglan style sweaters, and I do a lot of top down raglan style sweaters, a better measurement for me is actually going to be from about here to my wrist. Oops, there went Froggy. Do this again. And that's going to be a little different measurement. So from about here. So this is more like 15 inches to my wrist. And if I wanted to do a 3/4 sleeve, like what I'm wearing today, then I would be doing something more like 9 inches, maybe 10 inches. But those are important measurements to take. Another really important measurement is kind of your shoulder to wherever you want your waist to sit. So again, you start at the top of the shoulder and you pull it down to wherever you're comfortable. I know I like mine to be at least 22 to 23 inches because I want more length. I have a long torso, so that's a really important thing to do, is to know kind of those 3 measurements. Those are the most important ones. Everything else you can fudge a little bit. I mean, there's a ton of other measurements you can take from point to point on your back. You can do a side measurement kind of from your underarm down to the length that you want. Gosh, I don't know. There's so many. There's like tons of. There are tons of measurements that you can take. If you happen to be like really top heavy, but you're a little skinnier in the waist, then you might want to take another measurement kind of down around your hips and your belly. Or if you're doing a really long sweater and you're bringing it down, you know, past your hips, then you'll want to take a hip measurement because you may need to flare your sweater out a little bit so that you have a little more room in that hip area. So they're all really important measurements to take. If you can do them by yourself, I mean, clearly I just did several. They should be mostly accurate. Sometimes it's helpful to have a friend or, you know, significant other or child measure you. Although she's 2, that would be really entertaining if she tried to measure me. There would be no measuring. She would just be playing with the Froggy, let's be honest. So taking measurements is a really important step in making sure that your sweater fits. Hey, Tamara. Let's see. Yeah, if you're doing tight fitted stuff, you definitely have to someone else do it. Yep. That's 100% correct, Tamara. If you're making like a really tightly fitted garment, you definitely have to have somebody else take those measurements. For me, most of the stuff that I am knitting, you know, I've got a little wiggle room, so it's not a big deal. Hey, Cheryl, nice to see you. So measuring yourself, that's the first thing. Once you have those measurements, you can adjust a lot of patterns because you know what your measurements should be. So you can look at the gauge, which we'll get to in a second, and compare that to your pattern that you're knitting from. and you can adjust it. So you can add a few stitches to give yourself a little more ease in the bust, or take away a few stitches to make it a little more fitted. You can add length or shorten the cuff and or the sleeve. You can adjust your V-neck if you like. I love V-necks. So you can adjust the fit of your V-neck up and down based on, you know, the measurements that you take. So that's a really important thing. Gauge then becomes the next thing. So I made a gauge swatch. This is actually called the Tiger Skein. It's from a friend's shop from Pearly Shell Fiber Arts. But I had never used this particular yarn ever. So I did a really big swatch, and I tried it with some lace and some cables and some knit and purl patterning. And I washed this swatch and laid it out to dry, and my gauge did change by ½ a stitch per inch in this swatch, which is a really important thing to note. You cannot just swatch your yarn straight from the ball without washing it and expect to have a sweater that is going to fit the way that you intend it to. It's just not going to happen. You have to wash your swatch. And not only wash your swatch, but it can also be really helpful to let your swatch hang. So to like pin it by one of its tails. This is actually kind of a small swatch. I probably should have made a little bit bigger one, but I have been knitting for quite a while, and sometimes I still make mistakes. There's no reason that you can't just rip something out if you make a mistake, by the way. It's not wasted knitting. You have learned something. It's not failure, it's learning, okay? So this right here was my little swatch. Both of these swatches actually grew ½ a stitch per inch. So this one I think went from 6.5 to 6 on the size 2s, which was the fabric that I liked better, and that's the fabric at the top versus the fabric at the bottom. And this one I think also went from 6.5 stitches per inch to 6 on size 3s, but I liked the fabric that I was getting, and it was good for what I needed. So it's really, really important to swatch. And the thing is, you can always pull this yarn out later and reuse it. It's fine. A few tails are not going to kill you. I'm so sorry. If you're a knitter and you have now joined my live video, I'm just going to tell you, tails will not kill you. I can do a video on how to securely put your ends in, but tails are not going to kill you. So don't be afraid of making those swatches and cutting them off and washing them. You can always use the yarn later. And that's even hand spun. I cut it off, I washed it because I wanted to make sure that my sweater fits. So, and unless you buy sequined yarn, that was not rippable. Okay, yeah, well, now, come on, Tamara, sequined yarn? No. There are certain yarns that are much harder to rip out. I'm gonna say that. Sometimes mohair or angora can be really grabby. And if you have to rip back like 2 inches of something, it's a lot harder. That's why the gauge swatches are really important though, because it gives you a much better guide to what you need to do. So I really like the Knitter's Handy Book of Patterns, and also the Knitter's Handy Book of Top-Down Sweater Patterns. Both of these are by Ann Budd. Oh my God, Ann Budd, if you ever watch this video, I love your books and I use them a lot. So these are awesome books. And a lot of times when I'm designing a new pattern, I go here for sizing information and for like details that I might not have thought about, because, you know, I have this crazy idea and now I have to translate it into something that someone else could make. And hey, Kathy, when it comes to sweater design, these are two of my favorites. This one especially for top-down sweaters. This one is great for other things as well. And I've had these two books for a really long time. We occasionally sell these in the shop, but if you can't find them there, you can find them elsewhere. But I see a lot of times I start here, and that's where I've actually started for my hand-spun sweater pattern in order to get some of the sizing that I need. And I have just barely started my little sweater. This is all I got done. I've been so busy today. But this is the neck, and I'm doing a V-neck because, again, I said I love V-necks. So I'm starting with my V-neck. I have my points marked. I like raglans, so I'm doing a top-down raglan. And Again, this is the area that will become the shoulder. So this is actually the front, the shoulder, the back, the shoulder, and the front again. And I'm building it, you know, top down. And I really love how this yarn is knitting up. I mean, yes, it's my own hand spun, but I really love how the yarn is knitting up. It feels really good in my hands. And what's Tina saying? Oh yeah, we'll get, if you guys want this book, we can absolutely get it in. I don't know if we have a copy right now. Tina, do we have any copies right now? This is one of my favorites. It's not that useful if you aren't going to make a lot of sweaters, and it's not that useful if you are trying to just follow somebody else's pattern, but it's really useful if you are making a lot of basic sweaters, or you're trying to learn how to build sweaters that fit you better. So that's something to keep in mind. And let's see. Yes, that's my hand spun. That is my hand spun, Kathy. And this is the Pearly Shell. This was her 85 Blueface Leicester BFL and 15% silk that she was selling a few months ago that I bought a little too much of. But I've spun most of it now, so, well, I say that, actually I might not have spun most of it now. But it's really glorious stuff. So I'm actually designing a pattern now that you will eventually see on the website that is going to be meant for hand spun yarn, but also translates into a nice fingering weight like the lovely Darnie. This happens to be the charcoal, which is one of my very favorite colors. I love grays and charcoals. So the idea is that you will be able to knit with either your hand spun or the Darnie and make this sweater. And I am doing a top down, and I haven't fully decided on all of the details yet, but I know it's going to be a pullover. I know it will have a V-neck. I know that it's going to be a little longer, but I'll write it so you can stop it wherever. And in fact, I may even write it so that you could turn it into a sweater dress if you wanted to. But you know, I have a long torso, and that's a really important thing to know when you're making your sweaters, is how things fit you. One of the best things you can do is take a shirt that you love and just go take measurements off that shirt that you love and see how long it is, you know, from the point of the shoulder to the bottom of the body. See how long it is from the point of the shoulder to the arm, or from under the arm to the wrist, because that's going to tell you what you like. It's good to measure yourself, and it's good to measure a favorite item of clothing as well. And you have it in stock. Oh, yes, we do have the BFL silk at our shop. We just don't have any dyed right now. But if you want Tina to dye some, I'm okay with that. You can tell her that she needs to dye more of that BFL silk, because it's lovely stuff. Let's see. What else did I want to talk about with sweater design? When it comes to swatching, it's really important to use the needles you intend to use for your sweater. So that's important. It is important to wash it in the manner that you will intend to wash it. So that, for me, a lot of times I throw my sweater in on the delicate cycle in my washer. I let it go through, and then I take it out and I lay it out to dry. If you are planning to hand wash your sweater, then you should hand wash your swatch. It's not necessarily super important to always use the soap that you intend to use, but I used the Unicorn Beyond Fiber, I think is what it is. I'm not entirely sure. It's whatever they're like. Maybe it's the Fiber Rinse. Anyway, we do have some in stock. If you are looking for soap, I can highly recommend the Unicorn. It's lovely stuff. And in fact, I bought the set, the 3-piece set. So I have like the scour, the wash, and the conditioner, because they all have various uses. Really like the Unicorn. If you don't see the sizing that you want, let us know. We can totally get it. And in fact, I think Tina has like some gallons of it. If you happen to be local, that's going to be your best bet. If you want a gallon, is to talk to her about coming in for an appointment or picking up locally. Because otherwise, it can get expensive to ship a gallon of the stuff. But we have some of those great little sets. I have them here. So you can check out your you know, fiber with the Unicorn wash. I really think you'd like it. It's good stuff. And I happen to like the unscented because I have some issues with scents. So that's what I usually do, but that's totally up to you. You could get the happy scented one. I like Eucalyptus. I can handle that. That's also pretty decent, especially for washing something like this. But I gotta say, I am on the unicorn bandwagon right now. I really like that stuff. Really like that stuff. So anyway, and yeah, see, Tina says she'll totally dye some BFL silk. You know what? If you want Tina to dye some BFL silk roving, you should tell her what colors would look good together in my comments. That way she can check it out. Okay, I'm gonna have a little coffee. Hang on. Okay, what else do I need to tell you about sweaters? So, if you found a sweater pattern that you absolutely love, and it's a cardigan, but you really want it to be a pullover, that's pretty simple. Usually you can just knit it in the round. You may have to add a stitch or two, but for the most part, you should be able to just knit it in the round. Because most of the time when you design a cardigan with overlapping button bands, that actually adds width and doesn't necessarily mean that you'd have to add that many stitches to compensate for the button band. If you find a pullover that you love and you want to turn it into a cardigan, you can also do that. You just have to split the number of stitches that you need for your fronts between, you know, your right and your left. And again, you might need to add a stitch maybe or two, but it shouldn't be much because it's meant to fit around your body. And then you'll have those button bands that will add just that little dab of space in between as well to give it a little more comfort and fit. If you're going for a really fitted look, then you may have to decrease a few stitches. Fitting is not scary. If you make a mistake, you can always rip back. Ask Tina. She has been ripping and ripping and ripping and ripping that t-shirt she's been working on. If you've watched any of her videos, I mean, I think every time I watch her video, she's talking about how she's ripping out the perfect, what is it? Her perfect t-shirt knit again, because she's changing it because it's still not quite perfect. So anyway, yeah, so just a little throwing that out there. What else did I want to talk about today? So I went through and I unboxed the loom and the stand and all the stuff, and I put a small video up on YouTube. I need to share that over to Facebook. And then I took videos, but I still have to edit everything together to show you how I went through the assembly process. And I absolutely made some mistakes when I was doing it, and I had to take pieces off and put them back on because I wasn't paying that much attention. So I haven't decided if I'm going to leave those in yet or not. I think it's always good to see when people fail because I mean, this is a tiny fail. I had some pieces upside down, so I just had to take the screws out, flip them, and put them back in the correct way. So I may leave those in, but I have to get that done and put that up. And Wednesday we are definitely talking about the rigid heddle loom, and I found a book that I really like. This one is Story Publishing. Really like this guy. It's Inventive Weaving on a Little Loom. I borrowed several from the library just to try them out. This one has been my favorite so far. So if I get more into this, we may end up keeping that one on the website too, because I kind of like this book and I might need to get a copy instead of just borrowing it. Let's see, what else did I want to tell you? So yep, we're definitely doing the loom on Wednesday. We'll probably be downstairs though, because I did order well, hello Marshmallow. I did order the 32 inch and, okay, cat. And, oh, don't you always love it when the pets decide to join you? It's pretty big, so, because I mean it is 32 inches. So, I do need to, take it downstairs where it's probably going to live, at least for a while. Yeah, hi. And let's see. Oh yes, Tina's talking about what we have in the comments. And we do have tons of stuff on the website. If you have not been to the website, please go check it out. I spent all morning working on getting up a new banner and putting in the information for Tina for her Bernie's hat and mittens. So she has a matching hat and mitten. That didn't come out right. A matching hat and mitten knitted pattern. Whew, that was hard to say. And they are now available on Ravelry. They're going to be free for the next month, so you can check that out. And of course, we also have kits. You're very happy, he's purring. So that you can knit your own Uncle Bernie's, I think is what she calls it, Uncle Bernie's hat and Uncle Bernie's mittens, if you want to. So that's available on the website. You can find the kits there. If you click on that link on the banner, it'll take you straight through, or you can search for, you know, Bernie's hat or Bernie's mittens or Uncle Bernie's whatever on our website, and you'll find it. And if you already have the yarn in your stash, you can go grab a copy of the pattern at Ravelry and make your own copy, or make your own version, I should say, of Uncle Bernie's hat and Uncle Bernie's mittens. So Tina has been working really hard on that, and I just kind of helped her get that finished up today. And hi, you're just very happy here. I kind of had other things to talk about, but that's all right. If you happen to be looking for needles because you are ready to start a sweater of your own and don't quite have the right needles, we do have a ton of these really fabulous wooden straights that we had made for us. They're super nice. We have light and dark colors. They are very, very smooth. They're very nice to knit with if you like straights. I just wanted to mention those. And in addition to that, we also carry Haya Haya and Signature and Chaogu, and I happen to love the Haya Hayas. They're one of my favorites. So if you're looking for those, if there's a size that we don't have listed online, please send us a message. We may have just been a little bit behind in getting the needles in, and sometimes we can find a set that didn't quite make it into the inventory online. So please send us a message. Anytime you're looking for something, if you don't find it on the website, please just pop us an email or send us a message on Facebook or even Instagram. We'll find it, because we're willing to work to help you get what you need. You just have to tell us. And the thing is, when you buy through Black Sheep, we do have a rewards program, so you do earn $5 back for every $100 that you spend on product. And that's kind of nice. It's just our little way of saying thanks for shopping with us. And we do try to keep shipping as inexpensive as possible, and we try to bring in new things and fun things. So if you don't see something that you really want, if you let us know, we will do our best to get it for you. Oh, and I've got comments. What's Kathy saying? I can't see. Hey, you're in my way. I'm sorry. You got to get down here, little Mr. Purrbox. You bought Tina out on Sunday. That's funny. Yeah, Tina says, we consider ourselves your yarny drug dealers. I mean, honestly, that's why we get things in, right? I love the Estonian lace books. That's why we get those, although I kind of converted Tina to them too. But I love them. I sold her on getting the Shetland knitting book that she's been like flashing. I love that book. I have the original copy, but I love that book. And in fact, I think we need to order more of it because I think we're out. I love that book. I love lace. I love talking about the history of lace in different places. And in fact, I am teaching lace again. So if you are interested in taking an online class with me, I'm teaching online. And I already have 2 students who've signed up for my Thursday class, which starts February 11th. And we're going to do Learn Lace Knitting for Beginners. I have an intermediate lace coming up. Tina is teaching beginning knitting and beginning crochet, and she's going to put up a class to do the Bernie's hat and mittens with the kit. So if you're interested, we can get you the kit and we can get you in the class, and you can knit along together and make Bernie's hat and mittens just like that. And it's a great way to learn color work. So yeah, she sold the last one of our Shetland knitting books last week, so I clearly have to order more. That's just all there is to it. Well, and I love the Japanese tatting books. Oh, you've come back, fine. So I need to get more of the Japanese tatting books because, you know, we don't have a great stock of them right now because we've sold down, and we need more of them because I love them. And as I talked about with my tatting class, because I'm teaching a tatting class right now, I love that I can tat from the Japanese tatting books because it's all diagrammed, and I can read the diagrams even though I don't read a single character of Japanese. So I'm just telling you, we sell all kinds of fun stuff. If you don't see what you need, you just have to send us a message. We will do our absolute best to try to help you out. And in fact, I think we're talking about putting in an order from England for some books from there. And I mean, we are kind of yarny drug dealers, as Tina said. We really are. We love doing this and we love sharing it with you. So anyway, if you have further, hey, don't bite me, goober. If you have further questions about sizing for sweaters, about how to measure something, about where to measure something, send us a message, pop me an email. Remember, I'm Kelly, Kelli, @ blacksheep, ATORENCO.com. Remember, that's the old shop name, Black Sheep at Orenco. And you can always find that on the website. You can contact me through Facebook or Instagram. I'm also on TikTok. And we're on YouTube. I mean, we're everywhere. Make sure that you're following us as well. No matter which social media you find us on, please remember to follow us and like us so that you continue to get our lovely content. But if you have further questions, you can send me a message, send Tina a message. We will do our best to help you understand and be successful in your sweater journey. So you are just like, all up in here. What's Tamara saying? Yes, we can do a class as a gift. Absolutely. We can absolutely do a class as a gift, Tamara. You just send us a message and we'll work with you to make that happen. Let's see. I don't know. I'm almost done here for today. And then, like I said, Wednesday we are going to talk about the rigid heddle loom, and we're going to talk about like first steps and getting started with that. And hopefully I will get the putting it together video up maybe tomorrow. It might be Wednesday. I have quite a list of things to do yet today. But I will do my best to get that up. And again, make sure that you're hitting that like or follow button depending on what media you're finding us on. Please play along with Year of Self-Care and post your photos of what you're working on and tag us so that everybody can see the fun things that you're working on and they too can participate in the Year of Self-Care. And don't forget that we do have a link on our website that you can send people to so they can read all about it. It runs all year, so even if you just join for 1 month, totally fine. All right, so until Wednesday when I see you all again, and then we'll have to decide what we're doing the following week as well. Please stay healthy, stay happy, take care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, craftily or craftually, however you want to think of it, because it's really important to find that creative outlet and that little bit of joy every day, and that's hard to do sometimes. So, you know, wash your hands, physically distance, yeah, wear a mask, take care of yourself, please, so that you can keep coming back and interacting and chatting with us and seeing what we're doing on our Black Sheep Facebook page lives and our YouTube channel and our TikTok channel and our Instagram channel. I don't know, there's lots of channels everywhere. I'm not like super up on the terminology. I know how to use things though. So anyway, you are such a goober today. Yes, and it's time to draw for those January photos. That's right. And anyway, I will see you all later. It's kind of hard to read the comments from this far away. I may have to rethink my setup a little bit. So Marshmallow says bye. And I think he's probably going to go sit on my lap while I work on the computer for a while. So anyway, until Wednesday, please take care of yourself, and I will see you all then. And don't forget to tune in on Fridays for Tina's chats too. And Tina, don't forget your chats on Fridays. Sometimes that happens too. All right. Send me your questions if you have any. Bye, guys.